Good afternoon, and welcome to this segment of Voices from Our Schools. I'm your guest host, Kimberly Stender. I'm volunteer coordinator of the Amherst Public Schools, and today with me I have three esteemed guests from Amherst Education Foundation, and I'd like to introduce them to you now. Joining me is Erica Zekas, who is the president of AEF, Sue Cairn, who is the chair of the Allocations Committee, welcome, and Andy Churchill, who is on the Allocations Committee. And today we'll be speaking about grants and community connections that AEF is responsible for. So let's start with Erica. Erica, AEF has been such a huge presence in our town for the past 20 years, maybe?
Close, yeah. We got started in about 1995. Ellen Story and her partner, Jan Cluster-Wise, along with people like Michael Bardsley and Gus Sayre and Reynolds Winslow and Bill Gorth actually started AEF together with a social justice mission. Later, people that you probably know like Linda Roddy and Karen Dimmick and Mamadou Sarr came on board and really got AEF rolling as an important part of the community. So we've been moving forward ever since, and the mission has been evolving. And
You said it started as social justice, and its aim was always to the public schools in town.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Supporting and retaining teachers of color, students of color. Over time, that mission evolved. The teachers that were being supported by AEF started to ask for grants to do programs with students, and then other teachers started coming forward. And at the same time, the funding picture locally and nationally was also changing. There was a lot more pressure on the schools, and teachers were looking for more support. And so AEF's mission grew to support educational programming in schools that had a kind of a broader spectrum of program types. And so AEF became recognized for making mini grants to teachers. And then as time wore on, those mini grants expanded, but then also the PGOs in town started giving mini grants as well. And so shortly, I think it was 2006, that we had a failed override in town. AEF decided to do a little bit of thinking, internal thinking, and we launched a strategic planning process in 2008. In 2009, kind of came out with a revamped mission that talks about shifting from doing individual grants with teachers to broader grants that support the greater community of public schools that we reach. So we're serving Amherst, Pelham, Leverett, and Shutesbury in the elementary and in the regional schools.
We thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
And I know AEF is a rather large group, having seen you all come through our offices and see you out and about at these events. Can anyone join and become a member of AEF? Is there some type of application process? How do people who want to be a part of this get involved?
So like Sue and Andy are on our board. We have currently 17 board members. All of us are divided into different committees to kind of do the work. We're all volunteers, which I think is amazing. And we also have people come to us regularly who say, how can I get involved? How can I volunteer? And we have another 20 or so people who volunteer for AEF, and it might just be being a course monitor at the spring sprint. We have lots of opportunities to get involved, and some of those are a single day, a single event, and then there are lots of ways to be involved that are more involved, including becoming a board member, which is a process of getting to know one another and seeing if we make a good fit.
Right. Well, you do wonderful work, and you all work very well together. So
Thank you. And we're always looking for new help. So
people who are interested can go onto your website, which is
AmherstEducationFoundation.org.
Okay. And we'll post that on the screen so everyone will know. And I want you all to write in and become members of AEF because you do such great work. In terms of your excellence grants, now this is a huge deal, and it's become quite an anticipated event, especially for our teachers and staff and students in our schools. And I know this past April, you had a very nice reception at the Lord Jeff Inn, and where you made these announcements. And can you talk a little bit about the 4 grants, please, that that were awarded and maybe the criteria involved in getting the grants?
Why don't I start by just sharing what we did, the process we followed. Essentially, we had an opportunity to change how we award grants this year. As Erica mentioned, we started with a mini grants process that we used for several years where small amounts of money were given out. And then we moved for a year or two as we were going through a strategic planning process to a format where we worked very closely with district administrators to determine the needs. We surveyed staff throughout the school district to determine needs, and then we would award a grant based on feedback from the administrators and the staff, and then working with our executive board and our board and allocations committee. And then this year we created what I think of as a hybrid of those two, where we went back to a competitive grants process, which we liked because it provides structure to our program, but at the same time we held on to the idea that we wanted our grants to fund initiatives that really held tight and supported the district improvement plan and the actual learning of the students. And so we spent a lot of time developing the RFR process, figuring out what would the amounts for the grants be and what would the criteria be. And in the end, we decided that we would use a criteria that was in the AEF strategic plan. And so those were those 5 components. The projects need to be district-wide, emphasis on core curriculum, core educational mission, potential for long-term impact and replication, potential for sustainability, fostering teacher innovation, and opportunities for visibility for AEF. And the last one we added is, again, alignment with the district improvement plans, both the school district and also if there was one in the individual school. And so we kept that as our core criteria. And then we decided that if we really were going to have an impact on student learning, we needed to have the grants be a significant amount of money, so that they actually could impact something. And so we set a maximum amount of grant. I think it was up to $25,000. And so we put the RFR together and we took it out and shopped it around. We went to the various schools and we had presentations so the folks would know about it. We went to the principals. We asked them to share it at staff meetings. We came to the district leadership team and shared information. So we really wanted to make sure that everyone who could potentially apply for a grant knew about it, knew it was out there, knew what our criteria was, so understood how this was different from the former mini grants program, what the dollar amounts were. One of the things we told people when they were applying was that they needed to think district-wide if they could, but in addition to that, think grade-wide or think school-wide. So that was pretty much the criteria that we ended up with, and then the RFR was on the website.
Did you receive a lot of applications for grants this year?
We received 11, am I remembering right?
Is it 10 or 11?
10 or 11. Very strong. All of them were very strong applications. Right.
And the winners, I should say, were very diverse in terms of their projects and their vision. So it was nice to see that projects that were chosen across the board. It wasn't just in science or it wasn't just in reading or literacy. It was very well balanced and it hit all the grade levels, which was great as well.
I'm glad that the review committee was so strong.
Yeah, they had quite a job.
Yes, we had our review committee. We had our allocations committee, and we was the core of that committee. We also added Judy Brooks, who's a former teacher.
And AEF board member.
And AEF board member, right. Renee Moss, who's executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Hampshire County, and Tony Maroulis from the Chamber of Commerce. And so that really helped to diversify that group. And it was a lot of work to come to that final decision. And I'll let Andy share what we ended up funding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we did share, I think we funded some grants that cover the waterfront, I think, in terms of different areas, but I think they share a notion of extending the learning goals of the district and the schools and the teachers in ways that are interesting, relevant, and fun. And so the idea is, given all the challenges of funding public schools these days with state aid cuts and rising healthcare costs and all the making do that has to happen, that our sense is that AEF can provide some significant resources that can just sort of add, put some of the extra engagement back into some of those areas, so that so some of these so the curriculum can come alive in a variety of ways. So we funded 4 different areas. The first one is the River Science in Action project, and that was a project brought to us by a couple of middle school science teachers. And what it really does is it takes science from being something that's taught in a classroom to something that's taught in the Fort River. And working with a partner from the area, a curriculum development partner, the Rushing Rivers Institute, the science teachers will be creating a 7th and 8th grade hands-on river ecology curriculum. So the 7th graders and 8th graders will be out in the field, taking samples, not just learning about what the scientific method is, but they will be doing science in the world. So it's a really exciting project. And again, one of our criteria was that we wanted to fund things that would be sustainable. So developing a curriculum unit like this, we provide a little bit of seed money, and we enable the teachers to develop this great curriculum, which then can be used year after year with successive waves of 7th and 8th grade students. So we feel good about that, and we were happy to reward people like Jennifer Wellborn, who's just an absolutely fantastic science teacher. The Crocker Farm Literacy Initiative was the second grant that we funded, and that is working with a team from Teachers College Reading and Writing Project at Columbia University, who will come to our Crocker Farm Elementary School to help develop a new sort of team model focusing on literacy with particular emphasis on engaging all students, including English language learners and special education students, and really focusing teams of teachers on building literacy for all students. So that's an elementary initiative. It's focused on a key academic priority of literacy for all students, and it's so that again is an extension of a district goal.
And developing a model that can then be shared with the other
the
schools.
Fort River and Wildwood will also benefit from that, and they have some models that will cross-fertilize with this one. So it seemed like a nice, not only is it benefiting one school, but it's a pilot that will benefit the whole district. The third grant that we gave out was to the Vela Scholars Summer Program. This is a program, there's a lot of concern about the achievement gap and summer learning loss, and the Vela Scholars Program is a very exciting partnership with Amherst College and the regional middle school, and it's focused on reducing summer learning loss for at-risk students. And so our grant allows this program to reach up to 80 kids and to provide mentoring by Amherst College students and instruction from Amherst regional teachers. And so we're really happy to be, this one I think is sort of a harkens back to AEF's original mission of social justice and ensuring that all kids can benefit from the schools. And then the final grant we gave out was focused on science, resources for elementary kids, and basically it enables all of the elementary schools to purchase new science books for their elementary libraries. And they will be selected in partnership with the curriculum coordinators, so that they'll be designed to supplement and enhance the learning that's going on in the classroom, and kids can then go to the library and find current science books, which will be even more important now that new science standards are coming down the pike. So we'll make sure that our elementary libraries are being kept up to date and current in the latest science. So a lot of good stuff. We were happy
Great
to
stuff.
support it. There were other things that it was hard not to fund, and but that's a function of, AEF is partly a fundraising organization and partly a fund giving organization, and so we're on the fund giving side, or the allocation side, which is the fun side for me, and that's why I'm happy to be on this committee. But it wouldn't happen without the fundraising side, and we have a lot of activities and then community-wide appeals to raise the money each year and the more we raise, the more we can give.
Right. That was my next question, because I know these grants that you just awarded are they're sizable.
Yeah.
They range from what, $8,000 to maybe $12,000?
Actually, $10,000 and $11,000 were the two, ended up being the two amounts that were given, so $44,000
Right.
total was given away this spring.
So I think our community would really like to know how all this money is raised
Yeah.
year after year after year after year, and it's not easy to do.
Well,
It
you know, it's not easy, but we do have a really stellar group of volunteers. I'm regularly astonished by how much time, how much effort people are willing to put in. AEF raises money, but we're also trying to build community, and so we have a couple of anchor events each year. The Trivia Bee, which happens every fall around Halloween time at the middle school, is a really fantastic event, and the Spring Sprint, which we just did for the second time on May 5th, brought out close to 200 runners and walkers to run a 5K, everything going to support the public schools. So those, you know, build community. It's an opportunity for everybody to come together. Those events are sponsored by our local businesses, which is a really wonderful thing that AEF can do, is engage with businesses in the area. We also offer 2 opportunities every year for families to thank people in the schools who they feel are doing a really wonderful job, so make a gift in their name to Amherst Education Foundation, and then we send them a beautiful handwritten card to acknowledge them. It's a really nice way to honor a teacher or a staff member in the school who you feel has been really doing a great, putting in a lot of effort, caring for your students. You know, so that actually is ongoing now.
Yes, it is.
And you can make a donation on our website through June 13th, and then we'll take your information and write a card and make sure that it gets delivered to the teacher of your choice by the end of the school year.
Yeah, and it really makes, I think it makes teachers feel like they are truly valued, because these are coming from parents and families, guardians, and even students who may want to contribute. Our teachers work so hard, and they are an amazing, stellar group of individuals who, you know, really are sacrifice a lot of their time and a lot of, you know, everything for the sake of our students and learning.
Well, that's one of the things that I wanted to say is that I think one of the things that keeps people on the AEF board, people who are involved with AEF in various ways, keeps them inspired is all of these successes that we're constantly hearing about. You just see the dedication of the staff and the teachers in the schools. You see how hard the kids are working, and really creating these wonderful achievements every day. And so that keeps us going, knowing that our schools are strong. We also want to be a part of solutions where we have things that need improvement. So things like closing the achievement gap and making sure that all children have access to the stellar education that Amherst can provide is really important to us.
Yes.
And so, you know, our goal is to raise $56,000 this year.
Okay.
And we're close. We're closing in on that gap and needing community support. You know, it's something that we feel all the time, and I think that there are lots of ways to participate, both with time, as we talked about before, getting involved, volunteering, but you can also make a donation and contribute, you know, dollars to things like making the grants that we're going to make next year.
And I know we can always count on you if we need funding for a first day celebration or
that's right,
backpacks or, you know, it's just so nice to know that we can turn to AEF and let you know that we're trying to do this community initiative. Would you like to be a part of it?
Yeah.
And you always step up. So we thank you so much for all your efforts and for your generosity.
Happy to be a part of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
We just like to thank the community because the amount of grants we gave out this year was double what we gave out 2 years ago. So that's a testament to the community stepping up and recognizing that they can be a part of this. And so, you know, we gave out 44,000 this year. That was twice what we gave out 2 years ago, and we're looking for 56 next year. So the ambition continues and the need continues, and you know, there's a lot of great ways to get involved, either in events or in the organization or by giving. And so we certainly encourage people to do that.
Keep that momentum going,
Yeah,
right?
and we know that the need doesn't go away.
No, it does not.
And so what we would like to do is to be able to keep growing so that we can continue to have an impact. in the school district, and can recognize that the community can look to us as being a place where they can trust that their dollars will do good work. And so, we're looking ahead to next year.
Yes. Well, before we even jump to next year,
Yeah.
this July, we have our high school alumni directory, which will be
That's right.
published. And we partnered with AEF on this. And again, we thank you for being willing to do this. But as this directory goes out to, the thousands of alums that are all around the world now, they'll have the opportunity to see the Amherst Education Foundation name in this directory. I know our superintendent wrote a letter, Mark Jackson wrote a letter, Maria Garrick wrote a letter, encouraging people to donate to our schools through Amherst Education Foundation. So I know that will be very successful, and I'm sure you'll get a nice windfall of monies come August when the directory is mailed out to everyone.
Well, I think it's a really nice thing that we do work in partnership like this. I know that we have our own funding criteria, but we do really try to support the kind of educational direction of the schools. It makes a lot of sense to leverage what's already happening or what's going well, thinking about the school improvement plans in that way. And we're happy to be partnering with Amherst College and University
Yes.
of Massachusetts and really being a center.
And that 5-college
Yeah.
network, it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
on
I
to
think-
September. Oh, I'm sorry,
Well,
Andy.
I think that we try to do several things at once. One is obviously we're totally supporting the schools, but I think also we provide a way for new ideas to bubble up through the competitive grants process. So if there are members of the school community who want to partner with an outside agency or to do something that's consistent with the goals but maybe adds a new spin or puts a new a new approach on top of it, that's possible. So we're both supporting the existing directions of schools, but we're also supporting innovation. And I think for educators who go to work every day and deal with the challenges every day, to have the possibility of doing something new, or having to if they get a spark of inspiration, they actually can make it happen. I think that's part of our role too, is just to keep things growing and not just staying on the plan, but building it and making it forever improving.
And what we've told our partners in the community who aren't affiliated with the school district is if they have an idea or something they'd like to do, just to approach somebody in the schools, approach the principal or the appropriate person, and then put a joint application in.
Yeah, and
That's
the
nice.
new round of grants should be coming out, should be appearing next September.
Yes.
And if we stay on the same schedule that we did last year, it would mean that the grants would be due in December, and we'd evaluate them kind of late winter and announce them in the spring. So ever ongoing with that cycle.
Yes, it's a nice cycle. And we look forward to that reception at the Lord Jeff if he's able, because it is quite nice. And thank you, Amherst College.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Amherst College.
Well, actually, we're ready to wrap up. And I just want to thank you all for being a part of today's conversation. I think it means a lot to the community to know that a group like AEF is out there working for our teachers and staff and students, making the Amherst Public Schools strong entities within Western Massachusetts. So I thank you so much, and I hope you will come back to join us and let us know what other things you have cooking up.
Thanks for the opportunity, Kim.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Voices from Our Schools. Again, I'm Kimberly Stender, and I hope you have a great day.